Welcome, everybody. Hello. Thank you for joining us. So welcome to the HUGStar Awards, the 2023 inaugural HUGStar Awards. It's so wonderful to see you all, and we're really glad that you could join us tonight. You're in for a real treat as we celebrate the accomplishments of some very remarkable individuals who have demonstrated exceptional kindness, generosity, humanity, and resilience. My name is Cindy Graves. I'm the Vice President of Development and Communications with the Bloom Group, and I will be your host this evening, along with my co-host, Am Johal. Am is a former director of the board of the Bloom Group, and where he sat on the fundraising committee and on the real estate committee. Am is the current director of community engagement at SFU's Van City Office of Community Engagement, and he's also the host of Below the Radar podcast.
Hi, everyone. We're thrilled to welcome each of you here tonight to the inaugural HUGStar Awards. I'd like to acknowledge that we're gathered today on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and the Tsleil-Waututh peoples who've stewarded the land since time immemorial.
Perhaps one of the most exciting things about this event is the opportunity to bring together individuals from within the Bloom Group's community with those who support our organization's mission, while recognizing and celebrating the kindness and compassion in each of us.
This evening, you'll witness the presentation of 9 awards in total: 2 kindness, 2 generosity, 1 humanity, and 4 resiliency awards. The winners of these awards have been selected by the nominating committee of the Bloom Group for outstanding achievements in their individual award categories. You'll have a chance to hear directly from each award winner who's generously shared their unique story with us. I've heard some of their stories, and I believe you'll be touched and inspired by these individuals just as I was.
So a couple of housekeeping items before we begin. The bar will remain open during the evening. The last call will be 6:40. Drink tickets for wine, beer, soft drinks, and Pellegrino are available for sale near the bar. Credit card and debit only, please. So I trust you noticed the auction item tables in the corridor when you arrived. We have a number of exciting items to bid on. I understand that there's been some hiccup with the handbid app. If you're having trouble getting onto the app, you can go and visit the guest registration table and they can get you in. They have to go and do it through the back door. You can also get assistance. There's volunteers circulating in the room with tablets, and they will be happy to answer any questions you might have about placing a bid or about the auction in general. And they're happy to help you out there. The silent auction will remain open until 6:30. If you have placed the winning bid, you'll receive notification on your phone, where you will also receive your paid invoice. Items will be available for collection at 7 o'clock tonight. If you're joining us virtually, we will contact you after the event to make arrangements to pick up your items. The washrooms are located just outside these doors. The evening's menu is a sampling of canapes, thanks to the Syrian kitchen of Tibet caterers. The delicious appetizer platters are for sharing with your table.
We have a full agenda that will wrap up at 7 tonight, so we better get on with the show, as they say. We're very lucky to have Elder Dorothy Visser with us this evening. Dorothy volunteers her time at Powell Place and Springhouse, 2 women's shelters run by the Bloom Group, where she co-leads a weekly craft circle for the residents, along with Elder Laura Fontaine. Both women are Cree knowledge keepers in their community who help the residents reconnect with themselves and their culture through engaging in Indigenous crafts and preserving the language. Please welcome Elder Dorothy Visser to sing the welcome song.
Thank you. The song that I'm going to sing is a welcome song, and the words are welcome, Tawau Pitigwe, welcome, come on in, I am so glad to see you. This song is taught to all the preschool children that I visit in Vancouver, as well as the students that I teach the Nehiyawewan Cree language. I'm from the Onitshiskwapuuni Cree 6 territory, Cree speaking person. Thank you. So generally, I share this song and get everyone to participate. And for those of you who will you please repeat after me? This is your first Cree lesson. Tawao, Pihtigwe, Nimi Waitin, Ehwapamitan, which means welcome, come on in, I'm so glad to see you, okay? Tawao, Pihtigwe, Nimi Waitin, Ehwapamitan, Tawao, Pihtigwe, Tawao, Pihtigwe. Everybody sing. Nimi Waitin, Nimi Waitin, Nimi Waitin, Ehwapamitan. One more time. Tawao, Pihtigwe, Nimi Waitin, Ehwapamitan. Tawao, Pihtigwe, Tawao, Pihtigwe, Nimi Waitin, Nimi Waitin, Nimi Waitin, Ehwapamitan. Welcome, come in. I am so glad to be seeing you. Welcome, come in. Welcome, come in. I am so glad. I am so glad. I am so glad to be seeing you. Hi, hi, all my relations.
A big thank you to Dorothy. Dorothy said that people on a healing journey do all the work themselves. She simply listens and connects with them. I think she is an excellent listener.
We're very grateful to our sponsors who have generously sponsored this event. We're going to see some of the logos come on the screen here. I'd like to thank the following gold sponsors, and maybe if you could give a wave when I call your name. Dignity Memorial. Great, thank you. EnviroWare Projects. Enriquez Partners Architects. Oh, BC Housing. RH Architects. Oh, West Bank. Okay. Clark's AV. Thank you. Care RX. And Parkland Refinery. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for our sponsors. Now it is time to present the first award for the evening. The Kindness Award honors individuals and organizations who have demonstrated an outstanding commitment to support the community through exceptional acts of kindness and service to others. It's our pleasure to award Ionica with the Kindness Award. And here is award winner Michaela Toscano of Ionica.
I work for Ionica. It's a company I founded at the end of 2011. At Ionica, one of the purposes of the company is that we make meaningful contributions to society, and a big part of that is that we donate to causes that are important to make society more just, more equal, more fair. And the Bloom Group is an exemplar when it comes to those causes, and so we want to be a part of that. I've realized that there is a significant gap between what we provide through government funding and otherwise, and what's actually needed on the ground. The one thing that makes me feel a little better is knowing that the Bloom Group is there to help fill that gap. And that's why we support, that's why we do what we do. That's why we support the Bloom Group. Bloom Group has made clear, and it's easy to see, not just in their detailed reports that happen every year that I encourage philanthropists to review with any organization you're considering supporting, but just by visiting and seeing what's happening, what happens inside Bloom Group or properties, and what happens inside the organization. They have a proven track record of meeting their mandate and making those contributions to society that are so vitally important. I think too often in this world we don't realize how important we are, each one of us. I think it's helpful for us to realize that yes, every person matters and we matter, and that means because everything we do matters. To me, that's really at the root of it. That's what kindness is, and that's why it's important. Truly, what philanthropy is a token of justice, of justice in an unjust world. Its fundamental existence is a testament to the fact that this world is not what it should be. And so, as we move toward an ideal, we will make philanthropy less necessary. That's the goal. That's what we should ultimately always strive for. It may never happen, but if we set out to do it, we'll get farther than we ever imagined. I think the award will help shed a light and show others that this is achievable, that you can do the same. I wanted to inspire others to contribute whatever they can, whether that's a nominal donation or a little bit of time or whatever we can offer. We should do what we can. It's an obligation to do whatever we can.
I'd like to call Landon Hoyt to the stage, please, to present the Kindness Award to Ionica. Landon is the director of the Bloom Group's board, a dedicated member of Bloom's fundraising committee, and he is here this evening with his office colleagues from Argyle. Landon, you out there somewhere? Where's Landon? There you are. Okay.
Hi, everyone. My name is Landon Hoyt. I'm a director of the board of Bloom Group, and I'm proud to do that role and excited to be here tonight. I've got the pleasure of presenting the Kindness Award to Ionica. Ionica was established in 2011 as an enterprise technology firm focused on site reliability, engineering, and security for mission-critical applications. They're a strong supporter of the work of Bloom, and we're grateful to Ionica for their support. Their commitment to giving back is rooted in social justice, equality, and above all, kindness. Please welcome Michaela Toscano to accept the Kindness Award on behalf of Ionica.
You may have noticed the unique HUGStar Awards trophy. We'd like to acknowledge Dignity Memorial for providing the awards. Each award was handcrafted and hand-painted by Sid Bhagat. Dignity Memorial not only donated all 9 awards, but they also made and donated the table centerpieces you see before you. Plus, they're a gold event sponsor, so please join me in a round of applause and gratitude to Dignity Memorial.
The Bloom Group has provided an array of support services and programs for the vulnerable in Vancouver's downtown east side for 62 years. Since May Gutteridge founded the organization in 1961, we've reinvented ourselves multiple times, always in response to the most urgent needs of the community. Our history in Vancouver is deep-rooted and part of the social fabric of this city.
The short film May and the Golden Flower was created in 2021 in celebration of the Bloom Group's 60th anniversary. We're happy to share it with you now.
May and the Golden Flower. Once a little seed blew into the downtown east side. It settled into a crack in the pavement and spread tough roots. Eventually, it sprouted a delicate green bud that pushed its way up through the hard dirt toward the sun. The little bud was happy to be alive in the world. But then one day, someone came along and stepped on the little plant. It was crushed. Meanwhile, a woman named May saw what happened. She was distraught and filled with a burning in her heart to help. May watered the little plant. She fed it. She gave it shelter and made it feel safe. Soon, the fledgling stem grew strong again and began to grow. It grew and it grew until it almost touched the sun. Then something amazing happened. A beautiful golden flower appeared on the stem's slender neck. The flower was graceful yet sturdy and strong. When the harsh cold winds blew in from the north, the flower swayed and rocked dangerously, almost crashing back down to the earth again. Yet it managed to stay proudly upright. People in the city heard about the rare golden flower that had endured the cruel climate and wanted to see what all the fuss was about. When they saw the flower, they were not disappointed. They admired its resiliency and beauty. This was 1961, and the people rejoiced in the flower's power. May saw how the flower inspired others, and she dedicated it to her friends at the St. James Anglican Church. Together they formed the St. James Community Service Society. May continued to nurture the bright, beautiful flower. Several years later, when she saw it could thrive on its own, she decided to plant another seed next to it. May saw how the community was vulnerable and dedicated this flower to reducing homelessness and improving mental health. In 1971, Santiago Lodge, the first supported housing facility, was born. May gave this flower the same care and compassion she'd shown the first flower, and soon it also grew tall and strong, pliant and hardy. Again, people from far and wide marveled at the ability of these golden flowers to thrive. May was hopeful, but she wanted to do more. She knew there were other seeds out there that with a little help could also blossom into beautiful flowers. May got to work. In 1975, she planted a flower in honor of Victory House, a licensed home for those living with mental health issues. And in 1976, she devoted a flower to Power Place, the first women's-only shelter in the land. In 1990, May and her friends planted another seed in support of people who were at their end of life. This flower was called May's Place, and it became the first freestanding hospice in Western Canada and the only hospice in the downtown east side. May planted more seeds. She knew seniors in the neighborhood were at risk to manage their finances, and in 1998, a new program for seniors called the Adult Guardianship Program bloomed. A year later, cottage hospice burst on the scene, providing comfort and care for people at end of life. Each time, May carefully nurtured the seeds until she had a whole garden of beautiful golden flowers. May was delighted with her garden and reveled at the new growth blooming out of the harsh, difficult soil. But by now, May was an old woman who could no longer look after the garden. However, thanks to May planting strong roots in the community, the garden continued to flourish, and in 2003, a shelter for women and children was born. Spring House became the only shelter in the city that accepts male children over age 12. In 2013, the Bloom Group Community Services Society took over the garden May had so lovingly tended. The Bloom Group brought new life to the garden, and in 2015 and 2016, new affordable housing projects popped up. The Bloom Group's garden grew to 2 shelters, 2 hospices, adult guardianship, and 7 housing projects, providing important social support services for the neighborhood. Today, the garden that May started in 1961 supports 3,000 people each year with housing, healthcare, and social services. From that first tiny seed, May's garden grew to empower a diversity of people, regardless of their circumstances and without condition. The garden provides a continuum of care where everyone is encouraged to live life to the fullest and everyone is supported to live with self-worth and dignity. The future for a sunny, healthier world.
As you can see, May Gutteridge was quite a force.
Apparently, she was an intimidating presence at City Hall, and you didn't want to get in her way.
She certainly got stuff done, and one of May's many accomplishments was to create May's Place Hospice. May's Place opened in 1990 and was the first standalone hospice in Western Canada and the only hospice in the downtown east side. May realized she needed to find someone with the right combination of skills, education, and compassion to launch and manage the hospice, and to her credit, she found that person in Tylene Katz. You'll see why Tylene went above and beyond her role when you watch this short video.
I started with the Bloom Group. It was St. James Community Service Society in those days, in 1990. And what I was employed to do was to organize and set up the hospice program. It became apparent the extent of the outreach of the Bloom Group within the community, and that was enormous. It was absolutely enormous. AIDS had just hit in a very big way, and you can imagine that it was very prevalent in the downtown east side. So it was a pretty desperate situation. Mrs. Guttridge and a few of the home support workers had been watching a program about palliative care on PBS. And when they were building the new building on Powell Street, they decided to incorporate a 6-bed hospice. But the criteria is going to have to be at a place where I wouldn't mind dying myself or somebody I loved. And so I took it from there. It was a unique experience, totally and utterly. These were people who were absolutely dedicated to what they did, and we were totally like-minded, and our goal was to create a home where people could go to die, and the individual would be the leader of the care. If you'd gone in as an individual and said, we're going to do this, this, and this, it wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have worked at all. You had to sit down and find out if we can help with your pain, we can do one thing or another. What do you want? What do you feel? It was quite amazing how many people would come in really, really ill, even, well, especially those with AIDS in the early days, but with some good nutrition and chatting and being accepted, one another would start to improve. The kindness and love that came out of that strengthened the last time for patients, but also I think for the staff. The biggest thing was when we needed to expand. The very first year that May's Place was open, we turned away 90 people. And those people died in hospital. It was apparent that we needed more hospices. So what evolved was that we were going to ask the staff and volunteers that we were going to find a way to get another hospice going. And that was a lot of work. That was taking on a job on top of a job. And that took, I suppose you'd say, 8 years, probably, from beginning to end. May's dream has, Mrs. Guttridge, who started the organization, her dream has evolved, and that all these years later, it is still serving the population of the downtown east side. It is an incredible organization, and it is such a pleasure to be a part of, to have been a part of, helping in some, indirect way. It's very much, and that will be to my dying day.
It is our pleasure to award the second award for kindness to Tylene Katz. Now I have to tell you, Dr. Jay Slater, a dear friend of Tylene and Sid Katz, was supposed to be here tonight to make this presentation. He had his tie on. He phoned me an hour ago and said he just got tested positive for COVID. So he can't make it. He's so disappointed, as are we. But we have a good stand-in. Franco Ferrari, you're out here somewhere. Where's Franco? Thank you. Franco Ferrari is a very dear friend of the Bloom Group, and he is currently the interim chair of the board.
Thank you, Cindy. Well, I got that phone call from Jay late this afternoon, and he's very disappointed not to be here and to do this presentation himself. However, I'm very proud to be the person to do so, mostly because Jay got me involved in this program to begin with, and actually I've been volunteering. My volunteer involvement in the Bloom Group started with the hospice program. And although you saw in the earlier video that May Gutteridge was a force to be reckoned with, I was introduced to an equal force. And that force is Tylene Katz. Celine, where are you?
Tylene, would you like to come up? You can get this.
An excellent stand-in.
Thank you very much. Is this microphone open?
These are 2 hugs.
A hospice hug, we called it, right? A hospice hug, you've got to have both your arms around the person. So I've got a mic, right? Okay. Well, not really. I'm going to have just 1 more minute of your time. I'm sorry that Jay's not here. Obviously, he was one of the physicians right from the very beginning, and over the years has become a good friend. Franco too is a good friend. Must say that at this stage in my life, I wasn't expecting to get a kindness award. My focus is on getting safely across the road each day, actually. Anyway, and I just want to really emphasize here that it was always about the team. It was a team, a happy team, a friendly team, a team of people who could create a home, and which is what we did with both hospices. I think there's things erode over time when we get to interventions of all the rules and regulations, but still, love is there, and that's what it's all about. I just wanted to add that Kathy Swain, who's here today, was the organization's first paid person. So it was a staff member. and her latter years were at hospice not at hospice, but working at hospice. And we touched on the organization's originality, but May Gartridge, to be precise, she was the power of one. Really, 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 she was the power of one. A woman I had great privilege of calling a friend. Loving kindness. Kindness was certainly her thing. And it oozed out of this lovely lady's pores. She had no hesitation in holding somebody in her arms who was smelly and dirty, who might have thrown up or soiled themselves. She could put her arms around that person and love them. And I don't think there's many people in the world that can do things like that. So May, supported by her husband, the ever-patient Arthur, started the organization. And I suspect it must be in the hundreds of thousands of people that the Bloom Group has helped over these last 60 years. But life goes on. So happy. One of May and Arthur's son, Lance, is here with his wife Fran today, and two granddaughters, Tallulah and Ursula, are here as well. Please look Tallulah up. She's supporting the downtown east side through photos and film. There's another team out there who, without their help, this organization wouldn't be where it is today, and that's the donors. To you, I say thank you for your generosity, belief in the work being done, and of course, the final word, kindness. Thank you.
This evening is not only a time to recognize achievements and celebrate the kindness and compassion in all of us, but also a time to raise critical funds to important causes crucial to our mission. The 2023 House to Home campaign identifies 6 priority needs for the Bloom Group, focused on housing, health, and support services. One of these funding priorities is the Music Therapy Fund. In a moment, I'm going to call on our resident music therapist, Tracy Laslop, to treat us to more singing. But for now, please watch this video about the importance of music therapy and the impact it has on our clients.
My name is Tracy Laslop. I'm a music therapist, and my specialties are in long-term mental health care for adults, as well as hospice and palliative care work in the Lower Main. As a music therapist, your main thing is that you're a therapist, but you use music as the main tool. Music is the bridge. Music is the tool to communicate. Coming together in that moment to spend time with the music, to be calm with each other or energized with each other. There's really nothing like it as far as just that connection. And connection is really what I think everybody needs here at the downtown east side in residential care. Music is this instant connection. It's one of those things like when you see it, you understand.
Music therapy is a weekly highlight for residents of the Bloom Group.
Well, number one reason I come here is the outlet. It's a release. It gives you not just the joy of music, but it lets you relax. It brings you way down.
My favorite day of the week is the group where we go and sing with Tracy, and the patients come down to play, and everybody seems to enjoy themselves. They even sing along when they know the words. I do the same thing.
Music therapy is held every week at several of the Bloom Group locations.
It's fun. It's fun. It's something to look forward to. It's a little bit of social, beneficial work to do.
Every time when Tracy comes, I go along with her singing and that, and it brings tears to my eyes, you know. So it brings that feeling right through your whole body, and it's peaceful within oneself. You get a group of people, and they're all talking. You bring a song of music, and they're different people. They're different attitude within themselves. They're all smiling and happy, and that's what life is all about.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Registered music therapist at the Bloom Group. Welcome.
Everybody. Hi, thank you everybody for your support of the music therapy program. I'm looking forward to playing a couple of songs for you. This first one is a Traveling Wilburys song, Handle with Care, and we have a sing-along song specifically after this, but if you do know the words to this one, please feel free to sing along with me too. Being beat up and battered around, being sent up and I've been shut down, but you're the best thing that I've ever found. Handle me with care. Reputations changeable, situations tolerable, but baby you're adorable. Handle me with care. I'm so tired of being lonely. I still have some love to give. Won't you show me that you really care? Everybody's got somebody to lean on. Put your body next to mine. Dream on. Yeah. I've been fobbed off and I've been fooled. I've been robbed and ridiculed in daycare centers and night schools. Handle me with care. I'm so tired of being lonely. I still have some love to give. Won't you show me that you really care? Everybody's got somebody to lean on. Put your body next to mine and dream on. I've been uptight and made a mess, but I'll clean it up myself, I guess. Oh, the sweet smell of success. Handle me with care. Handle me with care. Handle me with care. Thank you so much. I picked that one because it's one of my absolute favorites, and I think it represents the spirit of Bloom Group very well. And we have a sing-along song. I believe the lyrics are going to come on screen. It's just a short form of Imagine by John Lennon, and I hope that you will sing it along with me. Here we go. Imagine there's no heaven. Beautiful. It's easy if you try. That was fantastic. I truly believe that we're all born to sing together, and I think you can feel that in the room. Everybody's singing all together, and that's what the music therapy program is all about too, is getting people together to sing and the difference you feel after. So thank you for singing along. We'll do a little bit more later.
Really hard.
Thanks very much for that, Tracy. For music therapy to continue to be offered to our residents, we rely on the generosity of donations. I'd like to draw your attention to the House to Home campaign donation cards at your table. If you're interested in providing music therapy to bring comfort and joy and help individuals heal and thrive, please fill out the donation card and indicate that you'd like your gift to go toward the Music Therapy Fund. The cards will be collected by a volunteer.
You may have noticed our next award winner in the music therapy video. Roland Jelson, a resident of the Bloom Group's Cordova House, not only is a strong believer that music is a powerful tool to transport us and connect us, but like music, Roland is capable of uplifting us. The Resiliency Award recognizes individuals who have demonstrated remarkable strength, courage, determination, and persistence to overcome adversity. Here is the first winner of our Resiliency Award, Ronald Jelson.
Sometimes you got to take a little inventory within yourself and just say, why am I thinking or being that way? And the only person, if you don't agree with what you're doing, you can change. You know, everybody says, oh, it's a rainy day, I hate the rain, this, that. I said, don't say that to your brain. The rain is part of life, it's part of the cycle of nature, and so we're part of that. I'm 86 years old, and I just say I'm only a day old today when people ask me my age, you know, because that's the day I'm alive, so that's the day I'm spending. I was kind of looking for a place, a senior's place, and I was staying down on United Rooms there, just a couple of blocks away for a few days, and somebody told me about Cordova House, so I went over there and they took my resume, and here I am. I was going to ask them when I came, I think it's around 5, 6, 7 years. Number one is attitude. When I go to bed at night, I say thank you for another day. When I wake up in the morning, I say thank you for another day. There's two words that I don't like, hate and blame. When I was born, my mother gave me up. So this woman took me in, and I just called her mom all the time through my life. When the second war come, she had a son. His name was Carl, and he got killed in the war, but he was blonde and blue-eyed like I am. I think that's why she picked me, but I'm still goodwill to her and feel really appreciative of that she took me in. My sister, I found out I got a sister that I didn't know for years, a couple of years ago, and they found out that that I had a sister. My mother, she passed on and told me a bit of history about myself and about them. I didn't go by my right name for years. In my school years, I was Roland Smith, Well, I knew deep down within my heart that that wasn't, something's going on here. But I didn't say anything because in those days, children were seen and not heard. It's not like today, And then finally, when I got of age, 21, 22, I sent for my birth certificate, and here my name was Kjelsen. Well, that changes the whole picture, you know what I mean? Here I am here, found a bit of my roots. Advice is that you be a good friend to yourself, you're a friend to everybody else. It makes you feel that, hey, other people recognize the goodness within someone. We all go down different roads and everything but still, the road that you choose, if you feel good within yourself that you're succeeding within the ability of yourself, and just carry on. Human beings are human beings. We all got feelings and emotions and personalities and attitude, and I try to just be myself and be what I am. I say what I think, but I feel what I say. That's my motto in life.
I'd like to call on Nevin Thomas, coordinator of Cordova House and Victory House, to present the Resiliency Award to Roland. Welcome, Nevin.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Nevin Thomas. I'm the program coordinator from Cordova House and Victory House. And I have the pleasure of working with Roland and serving him. Roland is sitting right in the back there. He would have come up tonight, but it's a little far to the stage, and that's okay. And he asked me if I would come up and get this award for him. And I just wanted to acknowledge what a kind and gentle person Roland is, considering the barriers that he's faced in his life and the opportunities that he's had since he's been living at Cordova House with the Bloom Group. He's always happy to extend a helping hand to anybody that needs it, anybody, anytime, and he never has a negative opinion. So I'm very honored, Roland, that you asked me to come up here and get this for you, and I'm happy to give it to you.
Hi, everyone. Just a reminder to keep checking your bids. I've got my eyes on the John Fluvog shoes to go with the purple suit. A Weekend in Whistler, incredible lino drawing by Richard Tetreault. There's so many wonderful bids out there, and please do follow.
Yeah, I'm all over the Anna Ashley 120-minute glow facial. Her facials are to die for. And I'd love to get those 2 nights at Nina Lake Lodge in Whistler, but if I say all this, then you guys are going to keep bidding on it, so don't bid on that anymore. Okay. You may have wondered about this venue that we chose for this inaugural HUGStar Awards. The View is an affordable housing tower for people on fixed or low income who live in the downtown east side. This building has a very interesting history. In the late 1970s, architect Richard Enriquez designed a new remand center in Vancouver's downtown east side that held individuals charged with crimes while their cases were being adjudicated. The center closed in 2002 and remained empty until 2008, when Gregory Enriquez, Richard's son, approached the city with an idea for a housing project to turn the now empty jail into a much-needed affordable housing.
We're fortunate to have members of Enriquez Partners here with us today. Thank you again for your contributions and support as a gold sponsor. During the building's conversion from a jail to an affordable housing tower, heavy security elements were stripped from the building, former jail cells were demolished, and 96 units of social and affordable housing were constructed. The detainees' former gymnasium became a shared amenity space with a kitchen for the new residents and surrounding community. And this is the room we're in right now.
The exercise yard for the previous detainees was redesigned into a community garden with flowers and vegetables, the same garden you see out here today. The province and city collaborated to add much-needed social and affordable rentals in the downtown east side and hired the Bloom Group to operate this project in the neighborhood, where Bloom had served the most vulnerable with unflagging commitment for half a century. The view was completed in the summer of 2015.
The transformation of Bloom Group's The View project from an empty jail to affordable housing is a spectacular metamorphosis of architecture rich with history and a father-son legacy. A significant priority for our House to Home campaign is the Garden Fund. The Garden Fund will transform gardens at 4 of our housing residences to create welcoming shared spaces and places of solace and comfort in the heart of the downtown east side. But don't take my word for it. Let's hear what our residents and staff have to say about why we need to invest in gardens at Bloom.
Like a communal garden is a sense of community, right? It's an opportunity for anything from like a first introduction to people meeting each other in front of the garden, or you know, inspiring somebody, or just a conversation, right? So I think it gives people like a common interest and a common goal to work towards.
I have hopes and dreams for this place when it comes to bringing back plant life.
The gardens in this building here, Nicholson Towers, is definitely underused, and it needs to be rejuvenated.
The Garden Fund will provide design and landscaping maintenance, soil, trees, shrubs and plants, tools and supplies, training by master gardeners about what gardening is and, you know, how to garden properly.
Someone could work on using what's here and bring other elements so it would get used more.
Coming in and seeing the gardens, they've been running for a long time, different amounts of time in different buildings, but a lot of them need a lot of upkeep, so a lot of maintenance, like anything from like replacing like planks and boards, maybe some replenishing of the soils, or adding, you know, furniture or taking away pieces. But yeah, what I'm seeing is like, you know, if you look around the View garden, you'll see a lot of weathered pieces of wood, and things are starting to rot away. You know, we're experiencing like carpenter ants and rats underneath. So having that funding, in place, or access to that, could really allow us to really, bring these gardens, to a place where they are just like amazing and beautiful. We can actually utilize the garden, for growing vegetables, growing fruits, and these kind of things, and not just have something to look at pretty all the time, but actually like have food and food security for some of the people that are living in the building. In this community, generally, people are, close to poverty, and accessing like fresh ingredients and stuff might not be something that they can do.
Well, the benefits of having a vegetable garden is it brings people together. It's fun, and just to watch it grow is quite amazing. And it's the food that comes from it is very nutritional.
For me, the front garden is the most important part of Nicholson Tower. I find that it's the doormat to welcome home, and I want people to come home and feel good that, hey, I'm home, and look, isn't this beautiful?
Well, I like to see them go, wow, and feel proud.
It would bring so much cheer to the end of a day when you're coming home.
It's actually very emotional. Yeah.
Donate to the Garden Fund in support of Nicholson Tower, The View, Powell Place, Santiago Lodge. Please visit www.thebloomgroup.org/donate.
You may have noticed in the video the design for the garden out your window. Maybe we can show those renderings again. With your help, we can go from what you see out the window this evening to the renderings that we're going to show you. Gardening workshops to improve food security, community bulletin boards, to increase communication, a garden shed, to safely store supplies and equipment. Can we get those renderings up on the screen again? That would be great, thanks. Yeah, there they are, thank you. So new garden beds, new soil, plants, and trees will be achieved by renovating the garden at the View. So please show your support by donating to the Garden Fund.
Our next award presentation is for the Generosity Award. This award honors individuals and organizations with a proven record of impactful generosity who, through either direct financial support or participation, have demonstrated charitable responsibility and generosity of spirit. Nominations were adjudicated based on the impact of the generosity, not the dollar value of the support. Generosity Award couldn't go to a more generous couple. Very excited to announce our first Generosity Award winners, Rudy and Patricia North.
I guess my philosophy would be there's a lot of needs out there, and when you see something that you feel is very needy and there are good people working on solving the problem, that tends to get me involved.
It's also to try sometimes to step in to fill a gap.
I've always done it. I never sat down and said, now what's my philosophy about giving? Except, as I say, to try to address needs and get things done. So I'm attracted by groups that have high rate of accomplishment. And I think of my philanthropy, if we use that word, and it's the right word. I think of it as an investment.
It's one of the things that we felt good about here. There's certain things that will really hit you as being just amazing. We really got involved with St. James as it was back then when they were building the cottage hospice, because that was about the same time as Rudy's mother had just died, and she'd been able to be at home in her own home right up to the end. And we felt that had been one of the wonderful things, actually. And it just seemed that hospice for people who, for some reason or other, they weren't able to be at home, it just was such a good thing. And this was the second effort of St. James as it was then, to our second hospice. So that was our initial connection. And there are many aspects to the Bloom Group, including helping people manage their money and so on, that people may not know much about, but just the fact that there's caring at a lot of different levels. When you come down to this part of town and you cross Main Street, or especially if you're on Hastings Street, it just grabs you. It's just, the needs are just so great. And I remember in this building when you were being taken around, when there was a mum who had about 4 children in this one small room, and you think, gosh, that's really tough, but at least it's shelter, and there's a warmth around here. That warmth is important. The fact this is kind of enclosed here, even though the pigeons are getting into that square, it makes it away from the street and all that's happening out there. But the needs are enormous.
My grandfather, and I spent a lot of time with my grandparents after school sort of thing, was very involved in local politics. He was the Reeve of Richmond in the 30s and 40s. And he was sort of a one-man social service system. I really respected him. I think today's youth are much more involved in supporting causes.
And doing things
yeah,
for causes.
than when
Yeah.
I was a kid.
And that is as important as money in many, many ways. When we got involved with the cottage hospice,
It was just a no-brainer to support them a bit. We're impressed with what the Bloom Group accomplished.
I would like to invite Sid Katz to present the award. Sid is a former director of the board with the Bloom Group and currently a member of the fundraising committee.
I know my place. In this room, I'm Talene Katz's husband. It's such a pleasure to do this, to give a generosity award to two people who have to be some of the most, if not the most, generous people I've ever met, Rudy and Patricia North. I should tell you that Rudy and Patricia and the family have contributed so much to Vancouver, to British Columbia, to Canada, all these years in so many projects, so many developments in areas of economic sustainability, in areas of growing communities, in our universities and hospitals, and also for Indigenous children to have a proper education and to move forward in life. When the Norths decided that they wanted to become part of the Bloom Group's projects, it was an affirmation for us because it meant that the programs that we were doing were worthy and made that list. As you've heard already and seen pictures, Rudy and Patricia and family have been very involved in the music therapy program that we've had in both hospices these many years, and also certainly very involved in the garden. And you just saw that beautiful picture of the gardens that surround the cottage hospice. When the gardeners, including a very important contribution from Patricia, physically as well as otherwise, it was really a building that was dilapidated. The gardens were dilapidated. But boy, when they all got to work, it's made a beautiful place, as some of the other people have said, where you would want to live and you would want to be. So I can't thank you enough, Rudy and Patricia, for all the contributions you've made to the Bloom Group Society. Thank you very much. Oh, there it is.
So I have it on good authority that the Whistler Weekend Away still could use a few more bids. So it's not too late, get your bids in. The View is one of two affordable housing towers operated by the Bloom Group. The other is Nicholson Tower in the West End. Nicholson Tower, owned and operated by the Bloom Group, is a 20-story high-rise for seniors aged 55 plus and home to approximately 240 low to moderate income households. At the heart of Nicholson Tower lies a common room and kitchen. The renovation fund aims to build a new common room and kitchen. Let's take a look at why this is needed.
Welcome to Nicholson Tower, a 20-story affordable housing facility for vulnerable seniors in Vancouver's West End. For the 240 residents who live here, the shared common room and kitchen is the heart of the building.
This space where we are now sitting is, to me, an essential component of community. This common room, this area, is used by many people for comfort, for relaxation, for chit-chat. This entire space is like the living room of this building. It is where people can come from their bedrooms and share time together, because we all live in our own little units. Many people are isolated. Many people are alone.
The current common room and kitchen are in need of renovation. The renovation fund will create a space that will better serve the residents by providing a safe, welcoming, and inclusive common room and kitchen where residents can gather, build relationships, and participate in community building events and workshops. This is Michael, also a resident at Nicholson Tower. Michael volunteers an entire day each week to pick up food from the food bank to distribute to other residents in the building. The kitchen at Nicholson Tower is an important place for him and his work. What will a kitchen renovation mean to Michael?
Food bank delivery means we probably have twice, this is half the order, so we'd have them all out in if it's a larger space and divide it more. It would be nice for group settings.
The Bloom Group's renovation fund aims to raise $65,000 to build a new common room and kitchen for the residents at Nicholson Tower. Help us make a house a home. Support the Bloom Group's renovation fund.
This is an opportunity to access the potential of community.
The space is definitely in dire need of renovation. Please help us build a new kitchen and common room to provide a safe space, foster community connections, and enhance social, mental, and physical health. Donate to the renovation fund. Our next Resiliency Award goes to a resident of Nicholson Tower, an active volunteer in her community. This individual dedicates her time and efforts to creating a sense of community at Nicholson Tower. Whether she is decorating the lobby, planning social events, or setting up various activities for the residents, Tara Balcombe is an exemplary model of giving back. Let's take a look.
There's always gonna be troubles in one's life. That's inevitable. But if you can cope with them and sort of get back on track fairly quickly, to me that means you're resilient. Believe it or not, I'm one of the few people that are actually born in Vancouver at St. Paul's Hospital, just around the corner. I taught English as another language. I'm an only child and I don't have any family here, and I had to take care of both my father and my mother through some health issues and eventual passing, and then deal with all of what you have to do after the fact, all on my own. I've had a lot of physical health issues, and have ended up being on long-term disability, and dealing with health challenges, chronic pain or fatigue, and still having to get up in the morning and get things done that you need to get done, and learn about what your limits are, what your capabilities are. That's been a huge challenge for me. Before moving to Nicholson Tower, I was in a supportive housing Grace Mansion, and it's was great because I was in a kind of an SRO before that, but it was temporary. So you could only be there for 2 years. And I was on the BC housing list for many years. So yeah, if had that temporary housing run out and no other affordable housing was available, honestly, I don't know where I would be living. Well, the Bloom Group has been important in providing me some affordable housing in a very, very expensive city. And as someone on a limited, low income, I'm very grateful to be able to have a place to live that I can afford and then still buy groceries. And I'm also grateful that it's not a typical apartment building or high rise. You know, people do know each other. And that's not something you find in a regular housing. So it's been good. Most of my adult life I've struggled with depression. I mean, I do have bad days and good days, but I really think working on where my thoughts are and noticing how I'm feeling about things, trying to see the positives has really been helpful for me. Particularly, say, in this building, I really like decorating, and I do like arts and crafts and music. I also help out with different community meals, like in the summer with barbecues, helping to set up yoga that we have every 2 weeks in the building. Anytime there's sort of a seasonal thing or a special day, I will put out coloring pages. I'm always surprised, you know, how they disappear. I volunteer at a long-term care facility, and I didn't think I'd enjoy it so much, but kind of the delight on their faces, that gave me so much. And it's a little thing, but it really made my holiday season so much brighter. So the simple things like that, I try to look for those things at the end of each day. I think what motivates me to give back is because giving and helping other people, I find it helps me help myself. It's really nice to feel appreciated, feeling that your life matters, feeling that the things you do, even if they're not big, grand things, can make people's lives better, and that makes you feel better about yourself. It makes you feel that you have a reason to get up in the morning. You know, it's the little things sometimes can make the biggest difference.
Please welcome Andrea Johnson, Director of the Bloom Group Board, to present the Resilience Award to Tara Balcom. Welcome.
Thank you very much. It's such an honor to be up here and listen to all the stories and to be part of this tremendous organization where people are really committed to making lives better. Tara, I really want to thank you for sharing your very personal story, but also thank you for what you do for others every day. As you say, it does help you feel better, but just watching the video and hearing your story, I can only imagine the number of lives that you touch, both in your volunteer work in the long-term care home, but also in Nicholson Tower. So, Tara, come on up here on stage for your award.
We're just going to be shifting to a short musical interlude. We're going to welcome Tracy back to the stage to lead us in a couple of songs, and then we'll have a few more awards to give out shortly.
Hi again, everybody. I've got another song for you, which is Carole King's song, You've Got a Friend. So if you know this one too, feel free to sing along with me. When you're down and troubled and you need a helping hand, nothing is going right. Close your eyes and think of me. Soon I will be there. Brighten up even your darkest night. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you got to do is call, and I'll be there. Yes, I will. You've got a friend. And if the sky above you should turn dark and full of clouds, and that old north wind would begin to blow, keep your head together and call my name out loud. Soon you'll hear me knocking upon your door. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you got to do is call, and I'll be there. Yes, I will. You've got a friend. You've got a friend. You've got a friend. Thank you. And now we've got our final song, and I would love your help again with singing along with me. I think most people should know this one, Lean on Me, which I think fits the spirit of Bloom Group very well. All right, here we go. Here we go. Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. You just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem one one that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. You just call me, call me, call me.
All right, another hand for Tracy. Thank you, Tracy. All right, mic is not on? Okay, it's on now. Thank you. So we are going to improvise a little bit. So the silent auction is no longer closing at 6:30. I think it's past 6:30, isn't it? So it's now going to close at 10 to 7, okay? So keep bidding till 10 to 7. So what do you think about the food? Is it okay? All right. I thought the cauliflower was great. I thought the cheese sambusa, did you have that cheese sambusa? That was really good. I hope you're enjoying the menu. I want to give a shout out to Taibeh. Taibeh was founded in 2015 to support newcomers from Syria by providing employment opportunities, financial independence, and social integration by offering and highlighting their delicious and authentic local food. A Syrian women-only business, Taibeh has grown by leaps and bounds, employing numerous women who have become notable chefs in the city's culinary scene.
Cindy, did you know that Taibeh is an Arabic word meaning delicious, and guess what else? It means kind. Please join me in giving a round of applause to our exceptionally kind caterers, Taibeh. Our next Generosity Award winner goes to a company that values social responsibility as an integral component to their business. B2 Gold, an international senior gold producer headquartered in Vancouver, goes above and beyond when it comes to giving back to the community. Let's see how.
Worldwide, our community investment is based on an inclusive process. The company, communities, NGOs, and government work together to identify and select and implement projects.
In our corporate office in Vancouver, we decided to invest in projects that address the complex sort of social issues in Metro Vancouver.
Our More Than Mining Fund was established to help people in our community and supports programs to help people with challenges associated with mental health, poverty, addiction, violence and abuse.
We look at projects or organizations that can demonstrate that they're making an impact in what they're doing. And we also look at projects sustainability. And what I mean by that is, it's how it's structured and the way it's financed in order that it could, continue going long term.
We started working with the Bloom Group in 2020 because they were providing support in some of the areas of our main focus.
One thing that we liked about the Bloom Group is that it's actually a smaller organization, and we believe that maybe our investment could make a bigger difference in the work that the Bloom Group is doing. What we appreciate is that you engage with us and keep us updated on projects that we support. You know, you let us know what's working, and you also let us know what's not working, and you come up with ideas of how to tweak a project or an approach. So personally, I was most moved by the You're Hired program. So that was a pilot project that we funded, and that the Bloom Group wanted to try. We had this idea around helping people get employment, and the results, what I heard from these people with direct account, were very moving. You know, you were clearly changing people's lives and giving them a sense of dignity.
Corporate social responsibility for B2Gold means treating our stakeholders with fairness and respect, and engaging with communities as early as possible, including their needs and concerns in our decision-making process, and delivering on our promises.
We have corporate values. Our values, the way we state them, are around fairness, respect, transparency, and accountability. So we're not driven by just the idea of being generous. We're driven by those values, in particular treating people with respect and fairness. So the result of that, of following those values, is the company and the individuals in the company is a very generous company. I think most people are inherently generous, but I think we are often cultivated to focus on other actions, you know, reaching personal or business goals, and sometimes that kind of clouds things that are inherent within us. So I do think generosity can be cultivated so that it's part of a person or a company's, you know, daily thought process.
The feeling people get when they know they've done something that's really changed someone's life or lives is you know, beyond measure. Receiving this award does mean a great deal to our company and to our employees.
We don't seek or expect a reward, but the acknowledgement does mean to us that our investment in the Bloom Group is making a positive impact. So we're happy to receive the award because it means that it's making a difference.
I'd like to call Franco Ferrari up to present the award. Franco is our interim chair of the board and the chair of our fundraising committee.
Thank you, Cindy. Well, first of all, we're very, very pleased and honored that B2Gold has chosen to invest in us and the work that we do. The frontline activities that our organization is involved in do help a lot of people and change lives. And I'd like to thank you and present you with this award. If you can come forward.
Sherry DeGear, everybody.
Thank you.
Sure. I'd like to draw your attention, please, to the table centerpieces. The flowers were kindly donated by Bloomier, a local zero-waste florist. And one person at each table will get to take the centerpiece home with you this evening. Look under your chair, and if you find something there, then the centerpiece is yours to take. Again, thank you to Dignity Memorial for making the centerpieces.
The Bloom Group operates 2 women's shelters in Vancouver. Power Place Emergency Shelter for Women opened in 1976 and was the first women-only shelter in the downtown east side. Springhouse Women and Children's Shelter and Transitional Housing Residence is the only shelter in the city that accepts male children over the age of 12.
I think they're all still looking for their centerpiece.
That's right.
When women leave shelter, one of the biggest challenges is often outfitting them in their new homes. Women who transition out of shelter may return back to shelter because they were unable to access items such as appliances and linens, furniture, or groceries. The Transition Fund sets women and their families up for success in their new lives.
Fund will help support families and women who are transitioning into housing, permanent housing, and we're just going to assess what their need is. And so some women need small housewares, some women need furniture, and some women might need household supplies and groceries. With the Transition Fund, that transition from going from the shelter to permanent housing will be shorter. And actually, when they're in their housing, they will feel that they have their basic needs met. They'll feel that, the things that we take for granted that we have access to, they will also have. So if they want to make a tea and they don't have a kettle, they'll have that. If they want to make dinner and they don't have pots and pans, they'll have that. And they'll be more successful in their housing. They'll be able to do more things independently there. And so that's what the Transition Fund will help support, is getting people back home when they need to and into home as quick as possible. Right away. We had a woman who was staying with us in her housing. She had an incredible amount of bed bugs, and so she had to get rid of her mattress. She came to us in respite, and we were wondering what's going on. So we worked with her, and we were able to determine that her only barrier to going back to her housing was a mattress. So the women who come access our shelters come from a wide range of backgrounds. A lot of them, though, the commonality is they've experienced some sort of trauma in their lifetime, current or historic. And so they're coming to us in need, they're homeless, and women's homelessness is hidden. And so they've done things like stayed at their friend's place, stayed at their family's place, they've pared down, and so by the time they get to us, we're kind of their last resort. Their last hope for rebuilding and their last hope to find something more permanent for themselves. So they come to us, we take them in and we make sure that we work with them and we help them to rebuild their lives and, support them to thrive instead of just survive.
Help women and children leaving shelter thrive. Make a house a home. Support the Transition Fund.
Our next Resiliency Award goes to an individual who has shown remarkable fortitude in overcoming adversity while never losing sight of supporting others. Always ready to lend a hand, Barry Sieben was an easy choice for this award. We're pleased to give you a glimpse into Barry's life.
Keep bouncing back and keep coming back. Like whoever, that's the way I call being resilient. My father married my mother's sister, so there's a problem right there. Dysfunctional, Yeah, there's like 9 kids on my aunt's side, and then there's 5 kids on my mother's side. His father was a pretty busy guy, I guess, back then. I worked at Edmonton Transit, repairing the buses as a fleet mechanic there. I was happy with what I did. I did that for like about 11 years. Growing up in a family, I had to be basically on my own. And then eventually I didn't want to be around anybody else. I came out here with a guy, we were going to hitchhike. And I only had $10 on me, so he had a sister that lived in White Rock. So he went visit her, and then drop me off in down here. Yeah, I worked at the airport there for quite a while. Well, the harbor, like there, I was eating meals there every day for probably about 10 years. You know, there's other people that you see on the street every day. You know, once you see them, you might see them once a day, but you get, after a while, you get to know them a little bit, you know. And then when you don't see them, you know, then you know that something's either wrong or, you know, something happened. 20 years ago, I got hooked into a place called Miracle Valley. I think it was Sarah Denny, Dr. Denny. She made a recommendation that I could get into here, or, you know, to live there. They just had to show me the room, and I didn't have much stuff to move, so I just moved, basically put everything in a cab. Here I am. It's been actually pretty good, you know. It's nice and quiet. I don't have anybody screaming in the hallways or anything like that at night. Or, you know. I've had 15 years of clean time down here, so it's, you know, I haven't done any drugs, or I didn't do anything and then for 3 years you just fall off the wagon a bit, but you know how to get back on it. So,
but it's a learning experience. See, I started playing guitar about 1962. I think I was like 12 years old. I have an old Gretsch, like a 1959 Gretsch dual jet. I'd never sell it though. The sound is unreal.
Well, I did the barbecue for like 7 or 8 years, every 2 weeks. But I always made sure these people got fed, eh? Yeah, I used to volunteer, yeah, for the insure program, yeah. It was like 2 days a week. On Wednesdays, when they do a drop off there, they drop the pallets. I'd get out and put everything on from the pallets onto the shelves, eh? And then on Thursday they sell it, so I take it off the shelves and just sell it. You know, just dish it out that way. I didn't mind doing it because I got good exercise from doing it, you know. Just that I've had a lot of breaks down here, you know, like people help me out, so I'm just trying to give back. Human nature, I guess, I don't know.
Is Marlo Hatia in the room? Marlo, are you here? Please welcome Marlo Hatia, coordinator of Santiago Lodge and Cecilia House, to present the award to Barry. With heavy usage, the wear and tear on our residences can be high, and our furniture often becomes worn very quickly. Our residences, shelters, and hospice rely on donations from the public to replace or upgrade the furniture. Find out why the Furniture Fund can make all the difference.
Offer units that that Bloom Group provides: bedding, desks, tables, chairs, and often those need to be replaced. In certain areas, in a few of our properties, we have turnover that is quite high. So we have tenants that sometimes come and go within a year, and you know, things get banged up and nicked. Things get used well, which they should be. So it's really important to make sure that that furniture is a very high standard. So we're not replacing it every year, but having furniture that we can have for 5, 10, 15 years that meets the needs of the people we're serving. So the Furniture Fund is aimed squarely at reducing a few of our costs, our ongoing costs to replace furniture, which is critical to the populations that we're serving. So I think the Furniture Fund will be incredibly important to the people we serve. It'll help Bloom Group help them and continue our mission and vision of helping vulnerable people throughout the province, and especially in Vancouver where we have our housing units.
The Bloom Group's Furniture Fund aims to raise $100,000, which will support over 300 residents a year in 8 housing facilities across Vancouver's downtown east side. Please help make a house a home. Donate to the Furniture Fund.
We have 2 more awards to present this evening. This evening would not have been possible without the help of our wonderful volunteers. We're very grateful for your time, talent, and dedication, and can't thank you enough. And please join me in a toast to our volunteers this evening. The next Resiliency Award winner goes to a resident of Victory House, a fully licensed home for individuals with chronic mental health challenges in the downtown east side. Deline Reed loves to write and puts her writing skills to good use at Victory House. We're going to go to the video next.
Throughout my life, I've had some hard times, of course. Everybody has. Maybe a little bit more, worse than others. Living with poverty and homelessness and scrounging for meals and where am I going to stay tonight sort of attitude. And then, coming into prosperity after living, on the streets and stuff. And then finding a place like Victory House, where I've been for the last 17 years, had really changed my lifestyle. I lost both my parents to heart attacks, and I had a nervous breakdown and decided that life was like a carousel. You just go round and round. So I left Nova Scotia and I headed to wherever I landed. Destination was New Orleans, but I didn't get there. They took me off the bus in St. John, New Brunswick, so I couldn't cross Canada. I couldn't cross over to the United States. I just went and lived and stayed at all the transition houses for women, and I took the buses across Canada. I ate at all the soup kitchens. Everything is beautiful, just beautiful. I enjoyed myself fully crossing Canada. And I stayed in all the hospitals. They were just wonderful people. From the very beginning, when I first landed in Vancouver, I was like hiding away for like 3 or 4 days, right? Staying at Jericho Beach and eating, a loaf of bread and whatever until the police apprehended me. And when they did, they took me to the women's shelter, the Umbrella. I stayed at the Lookout, the Triage, the Umbrella, and then finally from the Lookout, they put me into the Securso. And then I got a call about Victory House. And at first I hesitated because it was 48 people to live with. And I thought, well, that's a huge crew, But I said, okay, I'll take my chances. And I made the right decision. Because Victory House is beautiful. We have everything here. We're looked after fully. Yes. It's a godsend. I really had to be extremely resilient to undergo the life that I've led. You never know what tomorrow will bring, right? Nobody does. So you have to have that faith. Yeah. The Bloom Group's been there for me. Yes, the Bloom Group has facilitated for me for the past 17 years. And I've had nothing but excellent care. It's just a small little newsletter, but it's something to do. And I have an interview. I interview somebody once a month. We have the exercise program, which I facilitate along with Rachel and Andrew. I have a passion for writing. I've been writing for over 30 years. I wrote an autobiography about my journey across Canada with my mental illnesses. I opened up my heart to the book, really, and exposed my whole life and my whole thoughts. And it's online. It's underneath Delene Reed, Paranoid Delusional Disorder. Yeah, it's quite an honor to receive the Resiliency Award. Thank you, Bloom Group, and thank you, Nevin, and thank you, everyone. And yes, I feel really, really honored. Thank you.
Unfortunately, Delene couldn't be with us this evening to accept this award, but I would like to ask Mary Hopkins, our activity coordinator, to come to the front to present the award on Delene's behalf. Mary?
Good evening, everybody. I'm Mary. I'm the activity coordinator at Victory House. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. Give me a second. I'm accepting this award for Delene. She's really wonderful. She's really compassionate and intelligent. She has been through a lot in her life and overcome many obstacles. She's wrote a book even about her mental health. But living at, sorry, I'm too nervous. Staying at Victory House really has grounded her, and she's been able to live a really, really great life. So I'm just gonna accept the award. Thank you.
Technology is part of our daily life, yet at the Bloom Group, our technology is typically several years behind. And did you know that in many cases our hardware is more than 10 years old?
Ouch, that sounds brutal.
It can be. The outdated technology definitely creates challenges for our staff in serving our clients. In some residences, for example, we still rely on fax and hard copies to store information.
The Technology Fund will bring the Bloom Group into the 21st century. Please watch this short video and we'll have one final award to give out after this.
So the Bloom Group has, over the last 60 years, focused all its mission on serving the community at large versus really growing its infrastructure or its technology. When organizations were done with their technology, they donated the technology itself to the Bloom Group. We've been fortunate to use Microsoft Office 365, but the hardware that is actually running behind it is anywhere between 15 and maybe 17 years old. So the money that we raise, it'll be mostly used for hardware or for technology infrastructure that we need to get done. Well, in order for us to really service our clients, we need to be able to make sure that our tools support any of the imaging documentation or any of the lab work that we get. So like in our hospice environment, which is one of the environments where we are constantly in touch with Providence or with different facilities, they send us faxes, but those faxes actually come as emails. We end up printing out those emails versus just allowing them to access that information online, therefore saving us printing out 100 documents. But not only that, it also allows us to keep an electronic track of where the patient is. And right now, everything is very manual and very paper-based. You know, you look at one of our components, which is the adult guardianship. We're really supporting 1,500 people right now with trying to pay their bills or to keep them up to a good standing. If we're not at the technology point where we can support them, how are we meeting our mission? We can't rely on faxes and manual writing anymore. more. We should be able to allow our nurses and our caregivers to really access the information online and to be able to effectively provide the service that they need.
To donate to the Technology Fund, please go to www.thebloomgroup.org/donate.
Our final award goes to the winner of the Humanity Award. The Humanity Award honors organizations that have gone above and beyond to demonstrate caring, compassion, and empathy, and inspire others to share the humanity in all of us.
The 2023 winner of this distinguished award is the 625 Powell Street Foundation. The 625 Powell Street Foundation has been a champion of the underserved in Vancouver for the past 20 years. The foundation is dedicated to facilitate positive and lasting effects to the fabric of Canadian society by investing in and supporting organizations and leaders who are champions within their fields, possess knowledge, skills, drive, and passion needed for impactful, sustainable change.
Let's hear from the director of the 625 Powell Street Foundation, Donald McKenzie, in this video.
The mandate of 625 Powell Street Foundation is to help those who help others. So we recognize excellent leadership and excellent organizations who are doing what we call the real work, and then we invest in those organizations. The real work is the front line. The people are recognizing, without prejudice or bias, where the vulnerable people are, where you can really address their situation, and how you can best help them. So then that organization has leadership, longevity. We look at their financials to make sure there's minimal wastage, if any at all, and that the money's going to the right people, and it's making a difference to the people who need the differences made. Carl and Mark supported St. James Community Service Society many years before I even knew them, which then transformed into the Bloom Group, and there's just been this consistent many years of a good establishment, good organization. So while we do some support in the real estate side, we also support the adult guardianship program, which is one of my personal favorites, because that reaches across many organizations. The services Bloom are providing is being recognized and you don't expect it. So for example, I was in a homeless shelter in the downtown east side run by First United Church. And the manager there said, oh, I've just been reaching out to the adult guardianship program on Hastings Street because they're just a lifeline for our community. And that kind of touched me because I know we're supporting this group and we're supporting that group, and we're seeing them work together as a community rather than too much repetition of services. And personally, I like the adult guardianship program because it really addresses some of the fundamental basic challenges that people can have, paying their hydro bill, paying their rent, having enough cash in their pocket, but not so much that when they walk out of the bank, they're now vulnerable to being taken advantage of. We've also supported the transition fund that Bloom Group seems to very effectively run, recognizing that sometimes the stats can show us that that person has gone from shelter to the next step of affordable housing. There's a gap in there that if they go from the shelter to affordable housing and there's no bed or no mattress or no dishes or towels, when they get there, they're going to fall back. The Transition Fund seems to do a beautiful job of recognizing that need and helping people set up and get that first hurdle down when they move into their affordable housing. So we like that program very much. We've also supported some of the garden programs. Lots of services where we see you're creating community, you're crossing all faiths, all organizations, and supporting the people who need it. And sometimes the big hurdles are the capital and getting it first started. So the first bricks being laid in the wall are the most important ones, and we sometimes like to try and come in there. What we appreciate most is we've seen the Bloom Group evolve over time to what was a housing society, to what is really a group that recognizes the need of continuum of care. I see a big movement, or I like to believe I see a big movement, towards more care, more considerate, more support. We're moving away from criminalizing people for some of their challenges into supporting people get through some of their challenges. So that shift in culture will change how everyone views supporting the community. Humanity generally means helping to improve the welfare of others. So it requires us to be curious learners with an unbiased and unprejudiced ear and eye. So Really, if you can move to improve the welfare of anyone, I believe that makes you starting to be a good humanitarian. We believe the real work is done by the frontline workers and the people who engage with the people every day, create community for those people, and support and change the trajectory of those people. They deserve an award every day. And if we can inspire more people to do that work and more people to support those people who do that work, then we're happy.
Please welcome Wayne Henderson to the stage. Wayne is the interim CEO of the Bloom Group to make the presentation to the 65 Powell Street Foundation.
Thank you, Cindy. It's a pleasure to acknowledge 625 Powell Street Foundation. They've been instrumental in Bloom's development. They supported us in buying one of our first properties, which has led us to 3 or 4 other towers that we now have for about 400 units in front of the city. And Donald's enthusiasm for adult guardianship is well recognized, and he wants us to buy all the money marts and turn those into adult guardianship operations. We do support 1,700 people in the adult guardianship, and on behalf of our 250 employees, we want to thank 625 for their generosity, and I'd now like to invite Margaret Hope up to say a few words.
Very few. Those of you who remain, I honor you. You win the Endurance Award. I'd like to thank my team who are here with me this evening. I'll get our table to stand and I won't introduce them, and then we'll say goodnight.
Well, so you did win the Endurance Award. This concludes our program for this evening. A big thank you again to our sponsors. For all of you auction winners, you may collect your items at registration, and you will just be asked to show your paid invoice on your phone. In closing, I would like to relay something our Building Services Coordinator for our women's shelters, Bev Matisse, recently told me. Bev said she ran into a former resident of Powell Place on the street. The woman had been clean for several years, had her own place, a stable job, had reunited with her children and her grandchildren. The woman said she was doing really well. That's the impact we make. That's why we do what we do. Thank you again for joining us at this inaugural HUGStar Awards. Go home and hug your loved ones. Thank you for your support, your compassion, and your kindness. Thank you.